Sweet. I'll go over and turn on my chat window. I'm pretty sure. Forgive me while I get set up. Okay. There we go. Okay. California. Heck, it feels like California today. All right. Let me see. Let me get this set up better. I have to have two windows open. I have like my live Google Stream open, and then I have my standard page open, and it's slightly delayed, but I need the other one open so I can see you guys' comments. Cool. Okay, so tonight, last night I got, I'll do this. Last night I got the whole front of the engine taken apart. So that includes the front cover. It's sitting over here on my toolbox. All of the timing equipment, so water pump, timing sprockets, oil pump, chain tensioners, chains, guides, and then the rear pump, or I guess the rear timing cover. So all of that's off, and I think, yeah, I also got the valve cover or the rocker cover off. And so now today, I'm not in a huge hurry, and I figured it'd be cool to, yeah, I'd totally do a how-to live stream in the future. That'd be pretty cool. What kind of topic would you like? Senseless tuning. Anyway, back to this. I don't know what I was saying. Anyway, I got to pull off the head. This is where I'm at right now. This sucks trying to use a computer like this. There we go. So there's kind of where I'm sitting. Cams are exposed. I need to pull off the cams and the cam caps, and then I need to drop my exhaust so that I can actually pull the head forward. Tonight it's already 9 o'clock, almost 8:45, so we'll see how far I get. I might get the head off. I might just get everything else off until the head, but we'll see. See how things go. I haven't been in a huge rush since my parts aren't planning. I don't think they're going to be here till Friday. And I figured waiting until the evening is better for a live stream. And I like the format of a live stream because then I can keep you guys up to date on current stuff. Because let's try my there we go. They all move these boxes around over here. There's not as much space on the other side of the car, but anyway, my videos are like 3 weeks late, and so like the one that aired today, that happened on February 14th. So yeah, I think it is 3 weeks. But yeah, so 3 weeks late. And so I have a hard time getting them out really quick because I do a lot of editing on them usually, and then I do a lot of post-production stuff. So I edit them and export them, and then I put them through color to make them look a little better. GoPros are really washed out. Like this video is super washed out. Like these are washed right now, so they're actually a pretty bright blue, but on that screen it looks like it's pretty, almost a gray blue. And this is like pink and it's bright red. So anyway, so I do some things with the post-production to make the videos appear a little better than normal. And so my episodes tend to take a little longer to get out. And my upload speed here at this house is really, really slow compared to when I was uploading in Utah. And so it just takes a little longer to get things up online. It usually takes about a whole day for my episodes to upload to YouTube. So that's kind of why there's a delay from what I'm actually working on to when the videos get published on YouTube. That's why I always tell people, hop on my Instagram, because my Instagram, I used to update daily, now I update it whenever I'm working on a car. Anyway, back to, yeah, senseless tuning. What kinds of DIY live streams would you like? And Akeem, is that on your ez30? Is it an 01, 02, or 03, or 04? Like, is it a third gen legacy? Because my third gen legacy also will overheat, or at least get really hot going uphill, trying to go 80 miles an hour uphill. And I think that's just the cooling capacity of that car. I mean, they stuck a 6-cylinder in it, but it was made for a 4-cylinder, and I just don't think it has enough cooling capacity. Just how the car is set up, I don't think it can get cooled enough, and it's really heavy. I put an external transmission cooler, or an additional transmission cooler on mine, and that helped it a little bit. But the thing that really was the issue was my radiator was just full of gunk. Not the internals, but the outside was full of gunk, all the fins. And so I pulled mine out, sprayed it out, and that didn't really help. So I just ended up replacing my radiator. But that is an issue I've had with mine, with my third generation, is just it overheats. It's too heavy of a car, and it unfortunately isn't as capable of cooling itself. How much boost am I running on my NA motor? That is a difficult question. I'm going to address it. It's not a difficult question. It's an interesting question. I'm addressing that in the finale episode, which will be out here in, not this next week, but the week after that, which will be extremely close to the first day that I released episodes last year, which is what I've kind of been planning on. My finale episode will be kind of a finale overview for the whole year, because this is my first year. It's been a full year since I started my Instagram, and April 1st, I think, or around there, is the first day I started my YouTube, the actual channel, and released episodes. But to answer your question, I'm running at stock wastegate pressure, and my wastegate is supposedly a 4 psi spring. I don't know if that is actually the case because it's such a cheap wastegate. And the reason I don't know is because my boost gauge is also like the cheapest boost gauge I could find. And so I'm pretty sure my boost gauge is off, and I'm not sure if my wastegate is off, because my boost gauge at wide open throttle will spike at 10 psi. Now I know it's at least 3 psi too high, and so I might be running 7 psi, but I was thinking I was running 4. It would kind of make a lot more sense. I didn't think I would gain as much power as I did with just 4 psi, so I might be running 7. but it seems to be handling it pretty well. And just with the narrowband AFR gauge I have on it right now, it's not too lean. I mean, it's slightly lean, but not, I don't know. Anytime it's too lean is too lean, but it's not as lean as I first thought. And yeah. Anyway. Oh, I should zoom in on this so I can actually see what you guys are saying. Maybe if it'll let me zoom. Yeah, it does. Cool. Oh, yeah, I could do that. Let me get rid of this. So the first issue, I've had live streaming. It's an 04 Japanese version. So I would, yeah, is that this body style, Akeem? Or is it the older body style than this one? This is like the Hawkeye Legacy. The other one, the 3rd generation, that's the one I've had issues with. But I haven't taken this one on major long road trips in the heat yet, so I'm not sure. Senseless, how to live stream. The specifics, you can just Google search how to live stream, and YouTube has good tutorials on how to do that. The difficulties, the main difficulty I've had is just like the logistics of it, filming with a laptop instead of a camera, because I can't obviously get my laptop down inside the engine to show you guys anything. Good to know. Yeah, I mean, I think live streams are cool. I tried to do them over the summer when I was building, my wing, my spoiler, my ducktail, and I did them when I was doing the manual swap. But I think it was like during the day at like 11 o'clock in the morning, and so time-wise, it just didn't really work out for people to be part of the live stream. So that's kind of the main issues I've had. And that's why, I mean, evenings, it works out a little better now that I'm like central time, because I'm just more centralized. Before, when I was mountain time, I was kind of skewed towards West Coast time. And so anybody watching on the East Coast, it was a couple hours later. But here it seems to work out pretty well. And if I'm doing live streams at about this time of night, at about 8 Central, it works for me. My wife works pretty early in the morning, so she goes to bed about right now. And so I have time to come into the garage and wrench. That is a good point, Senseless. I do have, I think today's episode was like episode 80, but it's like my 100th video. So that's a good point. I should schedule a Q&A and go over things like that. It's the one, I guess the difficult thing for me is I started on Instagram, and that's where I feel more comfortable with the actual social media aspect of it. I'm still getting used to checking my YouTube and commenting and stuff like that. I need a bigger wrench. And it's just, I can't just like send out a message to all my subscribers. Maybe I can, I just don't know about it. But I should schedule a Q&A on all my projects. I might, on this video, I might do that. And then for my video I'm uploading on Thursday, I might go ahead and include that date that I set for a Q&A. Maybe send out a Survey Monkey and figure out when the best time would be for people. Probably a Saturday, I would assume. Anyway, oh, Akeem, it's a sedan. Well, it's lighter than a wagon, but still, I think it's just that version isn't that body style just isn't really conducive to having a 6-cylinder. It can't really meet the needs of the cooling needs of a 6-cylinder. But that's check your radiator, and might be worth throwing in a new thermostat. I put in a new thermostat at the end of the summer, and I didn't have any issues, but I also wasn't driving it in like 100-degree weather up hills with it completely loaded down. So something to think about. Ryan, what's with the paint job on the car? I'm assuming you're not talking about the paint job on this car. I'm assuming you're talking about the paint job on my Legacy GT, my little drift car. And I don't know if I really have an explanation for it besides I like it. Well, I like most of it. I don't like the driver's side. It's always bugged me. I thought it would be a good idea when I was masking it off. And then when I pulled the tape off after painting it, there's too many vertical lines in the driver's side. And I think the vertical lines just, it's like a feeling. Do I think a bigger radiator would help, Akeem? Yes. If you can source a bigger radiator, and if you can fit it, because I know it's pretty tight in between the radiator support and the with the cooling fans in there and the engine. Yeah. You might think about also, like I did, doing an external transmission cooler or an external oil cooler that you run on the front side of the radiator. But I think it would even be worth just pulling yours out and checking it and seeing if the fins are clean, because that's the issues I was having. Yes, erasers. I would definitely recommend 3 psi on a 2.5. I'm pretty again, I think I'm running 4 psi and I love it. And I'm pretty sure 4 psi is safe enough that you're not going to destroy it. I mean, put in an AFR gauge and stuff to make sure, but depending on what body style you're running, if you're doing anything in the 2000s, I would be wary, just because I know those ECUs are a lot more finicky than the older 90s ECUs. The 90s ones are just like, oh, boost? Yeah, I can add more fuel for that. Yeah, Ryan. It was inspired by, I talk about this in my finale episode too, but it was inspired by like Ken Block's Fiesta and the Focus and like all of his crazy stuff. You can also check out Hawaiianese on Instagram. He has this really cool BMW that's just crazy linear and stuff. And then a couple other cars like what is it? Falcon tire drift cars, and there's a Porsche that's kind of the same. Anyway, I was just kind of inspired. I really like the look of just the radical lines and stuff. I think my car, to make it look even better, needs a third color. So doing the white, the blue, and then like a gray or a black to kind of offset and highlight the whites and the blues, just to space it up a little more, I think would help make it look a little better or turn out more along the lines of like Ken Block's car. All of those cars are wrapped, and so it's a whole lot easier to just design it in like Photoshop or anyway, design it on the computer and then print it out and put it on your car. And so you get a lot better idea. I mean, I did all that just out of my head, didn't sketch anything out. I just, as I was taping off the car, it took me like a full day to tape off those designs just because I was doing it on the fly, and I'd peel them off and kind of redo it. And it was hard to think about it because I was masking the negative. I was painting the blue, but I was masking off I don't know. You had to think about it backwards anyway. But yeah, why did you choose not to put an intercooler on your turbo car? Isn't it nearly pointless to not have it? So this is something that is really controversial. I'm going to go ahead and get up underneath. I need to get underneath to break loose the cam caps on the exhaust cam. But I'm going to shout, so hopefully you guys can hear me. And I'll explain this. So not running an intercooler, I've received a lot of criticism for not running an intercooler. But it's something when I was researching turbos a long time ago, back in like 2010, I had planned to get a Mark II Volkswagen Jetta and to turbo it with a Mark III Jetta engine, the 2-liter. They take really well to boost. Anyway, basically the consensus is that if you're running below 7 PSI, you don't really need an intercooler. Not saying it's not good to have, but it's not entirely a necessity. I mean, colder air is always better, no matter what. But mostly I didn't run one because I didn't have an intercooler that I liked. I mean, I had a Forester top mount intercooler and a WRX top mount, both from an 03 WRX and an 06 WRX, so the plastic one too. I had access to all 3 of those intercoolers, and I just didn't like the shape and the direction with all of them. And so I didn't really go for an intercooler. I do have plans in the future. I'm probably going to be running front mount or some kind of intercooler anyway. I don't know about a front mount. If I really am only running 4 PSI, I don't really need a front mount. And I think it would be cool to do like I'm just a fan of asymmetrical designs, obviously. And so like sticking an intercooler over here next to on top of the battery and brake booster, and then having a monster like backward scoop to get air to it, or sticking it over in the other fender and putting more gills in it to cool it. That would be cool. The biggest reason, I mean, I would have intercooled it. I just didn't. Didn't want to spend the money on an intercooler. And I mean, I was running in the winter. It was like 30 degrees outside, the hottest day, and so I know that doesn't make up for it, but mostly I had planned on running only 4 PSI, and an intercooler with 4 PSI is slightly useless. Not useless, I won't say that, because it's helpful, but it's unnecessary. So that was kind of my reasoning behind not running an intercooler. I'm putting a 98 Forester turbo straight to the air filter. What? Eraser, are you in Australia? Because as far as I know, USDM Foresters don't come, SF Foresters anyway, don't come turbo. Unless it's like some eBay like fan. Yeah, see? And that's a big thing. I mean, the EJ25D gets a lot of bad reps for not taking well to boost, and I think it's because people want to boost them as much as a WRX, and like 02 WRX is the wastegate was a 10 PSI wastegate, which I mean isn't that much, but for an NA high compression motor, that's a lot of unnecessary air that it doesn't like. So, senseless tuning, you should check out C. Hilberry, GC, I think. Anyway, he's on my Instagram. That's what he's doing too. A 2.2 short block with I don't think he's using STI rods. He might be. I'm not positive on that. But he's using the 2.5D heads and a turbo. That's something I haven't researched a lot. EJ25 or EJ20 cams, are they the same? Does that really do a lot to help? And yeah, the smaller bores, there's just a lot more power. I mean, there's a lot more rigidity on that because the cylinder bores are thicker inherently. So unless you got a sleeved or a semi-closed deck 2.5, it's going to be able to deal with that kind of stress a lot easier. Okay, there's my first cam cap off. I got to figure out a place to put these. I actually don't have a spot yet. Hold on. And voila, there's a spot. My Instagram is just Dirt Cheap Daily. But the EJ20 cams fit. I guess they would have to. You can swap a EJ20 head onto a 2.5. I'll have to look up all those specs and see what the rise and everything is on a EJ20. Because that would be interesting to put in some bigger cams. And I guess if that's the case, I could get like Bien Lento on Instagram. He has a cammed out EJ18 that I hear is a monster. Hey, Catherine. Oh, hey, there's the specs. Okay, I'm just gonna read this so that I have it in my notes. EJ20K STI cam specs. Intake opens 10 degrees before BDTC intake closes at 56 degrees. ABDC exhaust opens 56 degrees. BBDC exhaust closes 12 degrees. ATDC overlap 22 degrees. That's good to know. 12,000 mint condition with an EJ207. What do you think? That's around 9,000 USD. Ryan, where are you at? Are you in Canada? Hey, Jeremiah. Yeah, it's like Chillberry _ GC. I don't see the name. Ryan, yeah, but you were saying you were putting a turbo from a 98 Forester on it, your racer. Anyway, Ryan, I don't have a really good opinion on that. How many miles are on it? I guess if it has a JDM engine swap, it doesn't really matter. I'm just not a big fan. I'm obviously a major do-it-yourselfer, and so I don't have a lot of input for people who are wanting to buy already turboed cars. My kind of opinion, my opinion is that buying an STI or a WRX is too expensive. Not that it's too expensive. It's just more expensive than I want to pay when I can get an NA version of the same car for like $2 to $3 to $4 grand less. And then I can boost it. The other issue I have with buying used turbo cars, especially Subarus, is that there is a very, very good chance, as much as it might look good still, there is a very good chance that that car was beat to crap. And you might be in for trouble because of it. Now, I'm not saying that's the case, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you have the money, so I'm working on. I've been planning an episode for a few months since before I even started the turbo build on my GT, about why WRXs and STIs suck. And I did this whole thing. You'll probably see it in an upcoming episode, probably sometime in April. But I did the math and I did all the parts stuff. And if you're able to do it yourself, so what I did was compare a 2016 STI with a 1999 Impreza Coupe. And then I found all the parts and everything it would take to make the 99 Impreza Coupe into an STI. So basically swapping in an EJ257, and basically you can have an STI killer or just a 99 Coupe STI that weighs 1,000 pounds less, and you can have it for about $5,000 instead of $35,000 if you can do the work yourself. I mean, Christian, you have a bit of a point, and that's why I'm saying like why STIs and WRXs suck is because you just don't know. There's too many young guys that have a WRX, or that it's like their first car or whatever, and they just beat the crap out of it, and you just don't know the condition it's in. Sweet, Christian. What are you doing about the motor? I love it, FXTs. I'm a big Forester fan. My first Subaru was a Forester, so I'm partial to Foresters over Imprezas. You're spamming all my followers. Ryan, no, I didn't calculate just the motor. All the suspension, if you wanted to do a 6-speed swap, yeah, I think I did include that in it. I think with the 6-speed, it was like $6,000 instead of $5,000. But you just buy all JDM stuff, or just off of like a pallet from eBay, a half cut. Christian, if I have one thing of advice, I would keep the 2.5. That's the other thing. I'm not a fan of the EJ20 just because there's no torque. That's why I'm such a huge fan of the H6. It's got gobs of torque. It's a torque monster. It's super fun to drive. And so that's why I'm not a fan of the EJ20. But it is a good motor. And it's super reliable, and it can get boosted pretty nice and deal with it if you get the tune right. Jeremiah, yes, I have plans to boost the 6-cylinder. I have more, not recent. Anyway, I plan to supercharge it. Not this one, the one in my other car. I'm planning on supercharging that H6 hopefully this year. Plans as well to turbocharge an H6. My brother really wants to twin turbo an H6. Put a big fat turbo on each side. Hey, I'm sure I mean, the guys that I follow, I don't follow that many people on Instagram just because I only follow people that are working on cars currently. And so if you go through my Instagram at DirtCheapDaily, you'll find some pretty cool builds. And I'm sure everybody, senseless, make sure you follow Bien Lento and how my car got like this. Anyway, we'll see you on tomorrow already, Jeremiah. Yeah, Christian. I'm from Puyallup. Well, I'm from unincorporated Pierce County. Went to school in Puyallup, but lived in Tacoma, in the county, over by Waller Road. Would I ever consider Subaru's diesel motor? Yes, Jared. Yes, that's like my end goal. I'm still waiting for the price on them to come down a little bit. It's still about $6,500 to get a half cut. And I mean, that's not outrageous. For a forever car, that would be worth it. I am not in the position to have a forever car yet. But yeah, that's my end goal. I really want a diesel. I'm a major fan of diesels. I grew up driving a TDI Jetta, and I just bought and sold an old 350 diesel last year. Oh, good stuff, Christian. Yeah, I don't know. It rains a lot there, but I like it. Kind of. It's home. I like going back in the summers now that it's warmed up a bit. Anyway, but yeah, I really want a diesel. It's just a matter of time, just the waiting, patient game, waiting for them to get cheap enough for me to actually go for it. Because yeah, I really want a diesel. I hear they're kind of sluggish and stuff, but it's a diesel, so you could boost it to whatever. It's just getting your hands on parts after that. That's kind of a bugger. So we'll see. Ryan, if I could own any Subaru, what would it be? What's the purpose of the Subaru I would be owning? Okay, I got to take off oil line that I forgot to. Hold on a second. This is going way slower because I'm answering questions, but I don't mind. That's the wrong one. Oh. Hold on one sec. I forgot what the last question was. And my toolbox is way on the other side of the garage. Okay, yeah. Daily, rally, race, etc. So one of my dream cars has turned into, I guess, my Legacy GT has turned into one of my dream cars. I built it into one of my dream cars. I've always had the dream to kind of build a ridiculous drift car, and I have some really cool plans for the Legacy GT to turn it into a real drift car. So that is one of my dream cars, which is kind of cool. I don't really see myself getting rid of it. I would also really, I want to have like a 99 Forester that's boosted with the H6. That's another one of my dream cars. I really, really, really like the first generation Legacy sedans, the square-bodied ones. I think those are cool. I want to have one of those boosted one day. An LS swapped or a JZ swapped blob-eye wagon. I know there was one of those at an auto show recently. That's another one I want on my list. And I really like the BRZ. It's a cool looking car, and luckily they're really popular. So I'm pretty sure they're going to be around for a long time, and I'll be able to pick one up here in another 10 years when they're 12 years old, like the cars I'm running now. I'll be able to pick one up in the future. Maybe, I mean, it'd be a cool car for like one of my sons or kids to have when they're in high school as like a project car. I'd be so down with that. And by then, I don't know what kind of technology we'll have. But the FA20, that direct injection, that's cool stuff. That's something I'm in owning. And then my last one, which would be like, this actually is one of my dream Subarus. That's why I hopped on it. It was the only change I would make is be the like forest green one of this, or the white pearl. But I also really like in gold. I just really like the 5th generation Legacy Outback. It's like the Hawkeye Outback with the H6. It's been like my favorite looking one for a long time. And I wouldn't mind having the sedan version of it as well, but with a 6-speed. Okay, sorry. I got to scroll up and find the last couple comments. BRZ isn't cheap. You're right, Eraser, but in 12 years it will be. So Madden. I currently have a 98 SF5 with a phase 122 from a 96 Legacy. I have parts collected for about 4 months and doing a lot of research, helping a buddy of mine do an H6 swap on his GC8. Wanted to know, what are your thoughts on this swap in an SF5? So I guess I kind of just answered that. H6 swapped SF5 is my goal. I want to have that as a daily driver. And that is actually the next car I'm looking to own, is another 99, 98 Forester. Not the 2000 or 2001. I don't like the bumper and headlight change. But I want to have that with a supercharged H6. So that's why I'm actually building the supercharger. The initial thought was we're going to build it for my brother. So he has a cool car. And he wants it in a bug-eye wagon, I think. But I want one in a Forester. And so that's kind of the reason why I'm going down this supercharger route, because that would be cool. You should show us how to hook up a MAF to a snorkel. That's a pretty good idea. I actually had plans to lift this, not this one, the other Outback, the gold one, another 4 inches, and show you how to do that, and then do like make a big bash bar and bumpers and turn it into an off-road rig. I'm kind of losing interest in that because I'd like to rather just work on my drift car. But if I ever get around to doing a snorkel, I'd be totally down with running a MAF through the snorkel. What's Twitch, Christian? I've never heard of that. 22B STI. That's one that is also on the list. Yeah. I posted on Instagram today, there's a dude over here in Wisconsin, just like half an hour away, who's selling a 99 coupe in white, and it's got the easy, well, it's not the easy, it's got the 3.3 H6 from the SBX in it. He's only asking $2,500. If anybody around the Twin Cities or in the Midwest is looking for one, it's a really good example and a really good driver. Anyway, $2,500. Madden, I might, but I'm gonna take time. If I'm gonna be doing live streams for the whole thing. Anyway, Christian, if you do the H6 right, it I think is gonna be a great engine. I've never had any issues with my other H6 ever. It's got 215,000 miles on it, and yeah. WRX Fleet, how's the turbo setup running? It is not currently running right now because it's in Utah and I'm in Minnesota. The last time I drove it was December 19th or 18th. And then I moved out here. And so it's just kind of hibernating for the winter. It runs great though. The only issue with the radiator support and the power steering, we had to use the SVX power steering pump. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Oh, and the SVX, if you're doing an SVX 3.3 liter swap, the SVX is a couple inches deeper than the EZ30. And so I would never do an SVX. That, and because it's not OBD2, and I like the OBD2. Do you still daily your drift car? Eraser, I guess I kind of just answered that for WRX Fleet. I would, but I didn't bring it with me because I figured having a rear-wheel drive drift car in the Midwest in the winter wouldn't be smart. And I didn't want to drive 2 cars out here. I saw your method of unequal length headers. That was some Haggard garage crap. Yeah, my version of it was. I was too asleep to do it. It worked out really good though. Not as good as I'd hoped, but I've seen other people do it, and it worked out just fine. A site where you stream live, people watch your channel and donate if they like the content. Oh, that's cool. You can actually, I could put a little donate bar up here. I just figured nobody would donate because it's just, I'm just not doing anything. But you can, if you do want to donate, anybody watching, I sell stickers. For the month of March, I'm selling them at cost. So if you're in the US, $1.50, and it'll be at your door in a couple days. If you're outside the US, it'll be 60 cents or 75 cents plus whatever it costs to mail you the sticker. So if you're interested in that, find me on Facebook or Instagram and DM me or drop a comment on this video, something like that. Get in contact with me and I'll get you a sticker. I take PayPal or Venmo. Or I have a store on Squarespace. If you just Google Dirt Cheap Daily Square, like SQUARE, I think, anyway, that'll take you right to my site. Okay, sorry. Thanks for the tip, Christian. I'll look into that. Do you experience piston slap on your Subaru engines during cold weather? Yeah, not tons. Not as bad as some people complain about it, but maybe my engines are just better. Sweet WRX fleet, that's rad. 407,000 kilometers. That's like, is that 200,000? I don't know. That's good. Paying for cable. Yeah, everybody gets piston slap. My occupation, Dalton, hey, yeah, maintain, that's the biggest thing. And that's why I say buying a used WRX is kind of sketchy, just because you don't know how it was maintained, even if they say it is. Anyway, my occupation, I'm actually a fish biologist. So I work in conservation. And one cool thing on that note, I'm my first official paper where I'm the primary author in like a scientific journal is published this month. So I'm a published author in science. Yeah, so that's what I do. I'm going back to school though. I'm going to do a graduate degree. Christian, if you find me on Instagram or Facebook, that's easier to just go through PayPal. You can go to my website to see what they look like. Just Google Dirt Cheap Daily and then space square, like a square, SQUARE. And yeah, you can order as many as you want. I'll just charge you shipping on one of them because I'm just sticking them in envelopes. No, I've been working on Subaru. Well, I've been working on Subarus since 2003 or 2013. I've been working on cars since I was like 10, but majorly since I was 16. I rebuilt a Bug, and I've rebuilt a bunch of cars. And I have a couple of cars featured on my YouTube channel. If you guys didn't know, or if you wanted to check them out, they're some of my first episodes. But I made a playlist of them called My Cars. And so if you just go back to my normal channel page, you can search that playlist. I mean, I have my playlists on like a little carousel right there. And so you can take a look at some of the other cars I built. There's one where I'm drifting in my Volkswagen Bug. I'm tightening. But mostly it's just I've never paid a mechanic to work on any of my cars, and so I just kind of know how to do it, and I'm not really afraid to jump into stuff. Like with this car, I've done head gaskets on 4-cylinder Subarus a bunch, but even buying a 6-cylinder the first time, my brothers were like, dude, we don't know anything about that. No, I've never experienced an issue with the belt tensioner. Brian. Here we go. Hold on. Okay. There's the oil pump, whatever you want to call it. Sorry, I don't know where I was at. Well, plumbers do a lot of welding, I guess. But yeah, I'm a biologist, so an ichthyologist, if you want to be specific. Thanks for the congrats, everybody. Yeah, I used to be an engineer in my undergraduate degree. I was doing manufacturing engineering because I really like building stuff and I really like custom fabrication. Let's see what's going on here. And so I learned how, well, in high school I did like machining and stuff too, but at my college I was able to use like big, like 7-axis CNC mill and like a big 4 or 6-axis lathe, and anyway, use all this really cool high-tech stuff. And I learned how to, well, I guess in high school, but I've taken a bunch of like 3D modeling classes, and I know how to use like 4 different language or CAD software. Anyway, so I still have like a lot of that aspect of engineering, but I kind of got bored with it and decided to switch my hobby of fish and building stuff, my hobby and career, and decided I'd do a career of fish and do my hobby as cars and building stuff. Blown away by your occupation. Oh, blown. Yeah. I mean, that's what most people think. I work on cars all the time. I had somebody comment and ask, like, do you work on cars in your daily life? Which I thought was funny because I'm working on a car almost every single day because I enjoy it. It's like how I feed my soul and how I just relax. Like, I really like doing this right now in the evening. Like I said it earlier, my wife gets up really, so she goes to bed at about 8 o'clock. And so that gives me, like, whenever I want to go to bed, usually around 10 or 11, to just come out here and work on a car. And it's really relaxing for me. I really enjoy it. And so, yes, I work on cars on my daily life, but I don't get paid to do it. No, I've never experienced a rod knock from the timing belt tensioner. Yeah, Jared, I'm working on the stickers for that one, for the new Dirt Cheap emblem. It's like my 2nd year emblem, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep. I'm also working on another logo. I'm trying to make it like a round one, using like a cutoff wheel and a saw blade, and trying to work it in. I've been working on it for a while, and I'm not the best at like graphic design, so hopefully it'll work out. Ryan, are you sure it's not just timing click? I don't know. It's hard to diagnose stuff, especially just over text. Yeah, 3D printing is really cool. I was looking into 3D printers a couple of weeks ago. Ryan, just be around it and research. Like, we're in a really cool era right now where you can just hop on YouTube and find all kinds of information, and like you can get access to the know-how to do all kinds of stuff if you want. And so that's kind of my tip. And that's how I've been, is just I've always wanted to know how to do stuff. And I figure, I mean, I grew up with not a lot of money. And so it was never an option to have somebody do it for me because it was too expensive. And so I just learned how to do it all myself. And it's worked out so far. There's that monster cam cap in the box. Woo-hoo. And there's my other cam. And there goes my dog. I need another box for this. It's kind of interesting. Oh, this is going to be dumping oil everywhere. The intake cam is way bigger than the exhaust cam on this engine. Anyway, so there's my cams off, and all my cam caps off. I should really be paying more attention to what I'm doing on the car, but yeah, doing an EJ. This one's different. This ez30, the oil pan it has like an upper oil pan and a lower oil pan, and you can drop the lower oil pan really easily without doing anything to the engine. Head gasket recommendations. I would recommend buying Felpro. It's a cheaper option than the factory, and they're good gaskets. I don't know a whole bunch on turbo stuff, but for NA motors, Felpro is always great. Yeah, eraser. Ryan, just work for your dad. And yeah, I use Felpro. Dude, buff and paint. I used to do a bunch of paint stuff. It's killer. Yeah. DIY or die, that's the trade. Or just a jack of all trades, yeah. That's what I prefer. Yeah, manufacturing engineering, that's what I was going into. Mr. Subaru, hey, but I would have to disagree with that. I haven't ever had any issues with my Felpro head gaskets. Sweet. Yeah, I've never had any issues with my Felpro head gaskets. And I've been running Felpro head gaskets for a really long time on a couple of cars. So everybody says OEM Subaru, but I say Felpro and do it right. And I didn't do this one right. That's why I'm taking it apart. But if you do it right, I've always had success with Felpro, and it's way cheaper than getting them from the dealer. So, but I mean, do your research. There's pros and cons. You'll hear people talk bad about Felpro. You'll hear people talk good about Felpro. I've always liked Felpro. So, yeah, do your research. And the Felpros are also MLS. So I use Gates kits for the EJs. Same thing. I mean, they're made in Japan. At least the ones I used to use. I did just the one on my Legacy GT. I just did a timing belt job on, and I used a Gates kit, and they were from China. But Gates is a good brand. So yeah, if you have the money, go for it on OEM. But I don't really see the point when a Gates kit is. Yeah. It's way cheaper than an OEM one, and it's good quality. So that's my opinion anyway. But I don't know. Felpro, in my opinion, makes really good gaskets in general. Where did I put it? I bought a new water pump gasket. I bought a water pump gasket install kit for this car. It was a Beck Arnelli or whatever. And it was fine, but taking this rear plate off and on so many times, it just got trashed. And so I bought a Felpro one, and it is like 100% better than the Beck Arnelli one. And yeah, what Mr. Subaru says on the tensioner, don't use an aftermarket tensioner. Use your stock tensioner. And really, I don't think you need to replace those as long as you don't crank it down too fast. It takes me like 10 minutes because I'm really careful with my EJ tensioners. It takes me about 10 minutes in a vise, just turning like an eighth of a turn every 10 seconds to get it compressed all the way. Anyway, I need to drop the exhaust manifold, and then I will be able to untorque the head and pull the head off. And that's true. I mean, yeah, I don't really know what to say about that. Any OEM part can fail, and obviously if it's a high mileage, yeah, it can fail. But especially with an EJ with belt, make sure you have a good tensioner, because if it is, I mean, if it's sloppy, it can ruin your engine, and if it's sloppy, it can also just make your engine run like crap. But for the belt kit with the idlers and everything, just a Gates kit's fine. Yeah. Oh, Ryan, were you talking about a EJ tensioner? I don't know. I've always replaced a bunch of stuff when I did that, and so I've never really had an issue with an old one. I thought you were talking about the tensioners on the ez30. Okay, I'm gonna hop underneath, get some PB under there, and pull off the exhaust manifold really quick. I don't know how quick that's actually gonna be. What time is it? It's almost 10. Yeah. Well, the idlers are the new Gates kits. They're made in China, but it's not. It's still Gates, and so they have a relatively good I mean, ethically, they have a good manufacturing system going on. So 10:45 for WRX Fleet, 8 for Christian. You're in Cali, right, Christian? Or was that Ryan? I don't remember. Anyway, I'm wondering if I could probably get the head off tonight. No way, Mr. Subaru? Yeah, totally old stock. Where'd you order it from? Just out of curiosity. Was it like Rock Auto, or because all the ones I've ordered in the last few years from Rock Auto have been Chinese? But I mean, it doesn't mean that just somewhere in a why can't I think of the word, storage house or whatever, in a warehouse somewhere doesn't mean, oh, Amazon. That's good to know. But yeah, they might just have a bunch of old stock in, and that's luck right there. That's sweet. Yeah, using real JDM stuff is preferred. Anyway, yeah, let's go ahead. I'm gonna drop the exhaust. I'm trying to think how this is another one of those issues logistically with live streaming. I don't know where to put my computer. And I actually have to get underneath and drop a cup. There's a like a midway hanger on this ez30, just right behind the cats. So it's like the mid pipe hanger, but it's more than just a hanger. It's bolted in to a rubber hanger. And so you actually have to get in there and unbolt it and pry it off. It's like hooked up in there. It's really annoying. It was a big pain to do it because I didn't realize it was there the first time I was doing this. Ryan, did you mean to say chirp? People chirp eBay exhaust for Subaru? And yeah, Mr. Subaru is right on that. But when a belt does fail, that's pretty catastrophic as well. But yeah, it's the idlers that really go bad. And it's because these people, like my Legacy GT, when I bought it, they had just had the timing done, and so it was good to go. It had a cracked radiator, so it overheated and blew the head gaskets again. But when I got down into it and was like, okay, sweet, I don't have to do a timing kit, because the timing kit's like another $180. And so I was thinking, sweet, just head gaskets and bolts, and I'll put on a new water pump, because I don't think they did a water pump. Anyway, they'd only replaced the belt, and the belt's like a $30 part, but all the idlers were mega wobbly. It's like, what the heck, you stupid mechanics? I don't know. The guys, it was like an old mom and pop mechanic shop that the lady said she trusted, and it's like they did so much shoddy work on that car. Yeah. Anyway, Jeezy Racer. I don't like being mean to my neighbors, just because I know how much it sucks to get woken up when you don't want to be woken up. And if you have a loud exhaust, at least drop it in neutral and cruise home just idling. But yeah, an exhaust is an exhaust. I don't know. Go used if you can, unless it's rusty, but I don't think there's much wrong. If you're just looking for a fart can, you can get one at AutoZone. Okay, Justin. So I don't know if you've been following or not with the series. So I bought this car with blown head gaskets, and I replaced the head gaskets. And then I was having issues with the rear timing cover leaking because the oil pump was stripped out. And so I was dealing with all that crap. And then just recently, that was like back in February, at the beginning or mid-February. And on Saturday, I pulled this apart because it was leaking power steering fluid. And I realized that this head was still blown. And so what I'd done, I'd resurfaced the heads by hand. And I've always done that on 4 cylinders, and it always works just fine. But the 6-cylinder, with it being such a bigger surface, it's a way bigger head than a 4-cylinder. And so there's a lot more room for it to wavy. And I was just in a rush to get this back together. I was borrowing somebody's shop, and so it was just really a rush the whole time. Just take it apart and fix it, and then I got a setback because I had a bunch of stripped out bolts. Anyway, I didn't spend enough time on the head when I was resurfacing it, and then instead of checking it like with a straight edge and a feeler gauge to make sure that there weren't any major low spots still, I didn't do that. I just went ahead and put it on because it looks fine, and that was completely my bad. If it was a 4-cylinder, the amount that I surfaced it would have been fine. But with it being a bigger head, I have to pull this one back off. But I only have to do this one side, so I ordered parts, and it's $90 for new head bolts and a new gasket, and a week's worth of work. So week's worth, like 2 hours every night kind of thing. So. You get all the RTV out from the cover and all underneath? Yeah, I did. It was actually really easy because I hadn't cleaned it well. It adhered in a couple of spots, but most of the spots where it was leaking down, it was still too oily, and it just leaked out. It just all peeled off in a big chunk. So that RTV came off. What's your opinion on an automatic WRX? Yeah, Mr. Subaru, I know it'd be way easier to pull it out. I've already done this in the car, and it's not that bad, especially this side. You have more, there's like a 1/4 inch more on this side, however that works. I don't think there is. It just seems like there's more space on this side because there's no big wiring loom. But big thing, I just don't have a crane. I don't have a cherry picker here. I could borrow one, but I already did it, and it's easy enough to just do the one head. Anyway, Ryan, opinion on an automatic WRX? I don't like automatics. Even this car has the new 5-speed. Well, new. It has the 5-speed, the 5 EAT transmission, and it is fabulous. With that said, I still don't like driving it because it's the computer deciding when to change gears, not me, and so it still doesn't react as well as a manual can. It's really nice. I'm just not a big. I'm not a big fan. And I mean, you could, if it's a good deal, you can get it and do a manual swap. The only other thing with automatics is they're like my 04 Outback. It just has a 4 EAT. When I bought it, the transmission shifted just fine, and I bought it on a rainy day. Anyway, didn't check the transmission fluid. When I finally get around to doing maintenance on the car, the transmission fluid is like completely black, and I'm like, crap, I'm screwed. Because if I don't replace the transmission fluid, the transmission is just going to eat itself. And if I do replace the transmission fluid, there is a very good chance that I'm going to have a slippy transmission, because all of that black crap is the particles from the little clutch packs that are in the transmission. So I don't like automatics just because they are inherently, they need serviced. Like, just like you have to replace your clutch in a manual, you have to replace clutch packs in an automatic transmission. And that's something that nobody really does at home. I'm planning on doing it, but they need maintenance, and it's not an easy maintenance thing to do at home. So that's why that's the biggest reason I don't like automatics. And I've always had really good success buying really high mileage and old cars because I've never bought automatics. And now, like with this car and the other car, I bought automatics, and I haven't had as much success. And most people you hear that talk about used cars, it's because they're buying automatics, and automatics need servicing. They need rebuilt after, if they haven't ever been serviced, they need it soon. So that's my mini spiel on automatics. I wish I could pick up the EZ30 on my own. I miss the days of my air-cooled Volkswagen days when I could just go and literally unbolt the 4 bolts and just slide it out and pick it up. I was a lot stronger than I was there. But yeah, like Mr. Subaru says, 4 EAT and boost, it doesn't work out. Yeah, major bummer that it's a blown head gasket in. Again, it's been like a month since I worked. Well, it's been a few weeks since I worked on this, but it's been like a month and a half since I got the head gaskets back together, and don't have another project car here, so it's a bummer, but it gives me something to do. Yeah, and like Jared says, the automatic, it's not terrible. It's still a good car. But really, if you could find a 5-speed, go for it, because you'll be happier in the long run. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to pull the engine, because then I could replace the rear main seal and make sure everything on the back end is sealed up, but I just I don't want to right now. And obviously, if I'm putting a new head gasket on a month after I put a new one on, I'm not opposed to pulling the engine and doing it all again. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you're driving your car for. If you're going to be stuck in traffic a lot, yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing to buy an automatic if you're going to be commuting in stop and go traffic every day. Oh, sorry, Ryan. You can skip back. I don't want to say it all again. No. Automatic, to make it really brief, automatics need servicing. It's full of clutch packs, just like you have a clutch on a 5-speed or on a manual transmission, and they need very careful and regular maintenance, which they almost never get because it's expensive to service an automatic transmission, and people don't think about it, and it can be done improperly, and if you wait too long to service it, you're screwed and you need to rebuild the transmission. And so that's my issue with automatics, is that it needs the clutch replaced like a 5-speed does, but you can't really do it at home too well. Yeah, live feed's mega affecting my productivity. Mostly just I don't want to get under. I need to spend some time and clean up all the oil that's underneath the car. and so that I can actually lay down underneath there and get the exhaust man. I'm just waiting. I need to get the exhaust manifold off, and then I can pull the head. And I might just do that tomorrow. I don't know about you guys. This is fun. I could do another live stream. No, I can't. No, I could tomorrow. Tomorrow evening, I'd be back home at about 8:30, so it'd be about the same time as this one. I could take the exhaust manifold off tomorrow during the day, and then tomorrow evening, like this, I could do a live stream of pulling the head off. That'd be cool. I also, to pull the head off, I need to go in and grab my other computer to get the untorquing sequence correctly. Unless anybody wants to watch my video and tell me it. But anyway. Yeah, but Mr. Subaru, 278,000 miles on your LL Bean Auto, but you're somebody who actually maintains your car. So buying one, who knows if it's going to be maintained. Favorite fluid for the older 4 EAT? I use, I use this stuff. Max Life, Valvoline. Pretty good success with it. I know some people don't like it and some people use other stuff, but that's what I use. It's a cheap option. You can get it gallon at Walmart for pretty cheap. Yeah. But again, Mr. Subaru, you take care of your cars. I'm talking about buying an automatic from some kid who's thrashed it, or even just like a soccer mom who's driven it, and it's just they have a bunch of kids and they don't want to spend the extra money on a transmission fluid flush. It's like $90 or $150. Yeah. Mr. Subaru, list what Subis do you have right now? You have a channel, don't you? I feel like I saw your channel the other day. Maybe it's somebody else that's Mr. Subaru with a different digit afterwards, but it was an old Outback. Well, not an old, but like an 03-ish Outback, probably. I'm assuming anyway. Those things they're like the most common Subaru you find anywhere. Seems like nobody wants them. Yeah, I'll go ahead and pull the exhaust. I still think I need to go to bed before 11:30 like I did last night. How long have I? Hey, somebody tell me how long I've been on here. It doesn't say it on my end. I guess I've been doing it since 8:40, so an hour and 15 minutes. Do it, Christian. I'm always excited to see more Subaru content. There's a lack of good Subaru content on YouTube, it seems like. One of the reasons I started my channel. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and keep answering questions and talking to you guys. I'm going to go ahead and clean up all of the oil that's underneath the car in preparation for pulling the exhaust manifold, but I don't think I'm going to actually get to that tonight. I'm going to go to bed before I get to that point, but I'm here still. I'm do one of those. Yeah, I knew you had a channel, Mr. Subaru. Yeah, I was watching some of your videos the other day. I don't remember which ones because I was watching a ton of YouTube videos, but I know I might have subscribed to you. Jeez, cereal. That sounds like it sucks. Okay, well, that actually was a lot faster than I thought it was. Yeah, Mr. Subaru has. I'm starting to remember what I was watching. Anyway, yeah, do a manual swap. Get rid of that old hefty. Man, those 480s are a monster to take out by yourself. They're so heavy. It's a joke. But yeah, Mr. Subaru has a bunch of content. I think I started watching Mr. Subaru. Seems like he's been doing videos for a while. I'm honored that he's watching my live stream. Crap, I think I gotta go pick up more shop rags tomorrow too. I gotta return my O'Reilly tools I borrowed a couple of days ago tomorrow too, since I'm not gonna be using them anymore. Got a little bit of oil on the floor, so everything's all slippery. Ryan, is that a question for me? Yeah, I could have sworn I remember seeing your channel a long time ago. And cereal, you can totally do a manual swap. It's doable. I got a whole series on it. Have I ever owned a stock turbo Impreza? No, I've never owned a turbo Subaru that is turbo on the title. Yeah, I've just only ever turbo. My dad owns a turbo Subaru. He owns a 05 FXT. And I've driven Buddy's WRXs. My first turbo Subaru I ever drove was a 03 Impreza wagon, I think. Serial, it really depends on where you source your parts for the manual swap. I sourced all mine from the junkyard, like a pick-apart junkyard. So I went in and pulled all the stuff. I got my transmission. The yard that I bought my stuff at, they treat everything they sell as just core. Well, like engines and transmissions, they consider cores. So a transmission I paid $110 plus core. So it was about $140 for a transmission. To get the right driveline, I had to get it on eBay. So $100 on eBay for a driveline. My clutch kit, which was like $150, maybe it was $200, because I got a good clutch kit. So $150, $250, $350, $400. Yeah, $400. If you're doing a manual swap and keeping it all-wheel drive, you'll have to replace the rear differential. So maybe like another $80 for a rear differential. So depending on where you source your parts, it can be as little as $500. Yeah, definitely less than $1,000 from the junkyard with the brand new clutch. And depending on what I mean, even if you're getting it from a junkyard that already has the stuff pulled, you can find a junkyard that's selling a 5-speed for. They probably sell you everything for less than $1,000, especially because they take your old crap. I was able to do it for really cheap because my automatic was still good, and so I did the manual swap, and then I sold off my good automatic transmission, the driveline, and the rear differential for $300, which is a good deal for a working automatic and rear diff. And so I spent like $100 or $150 on my manual swap. Obviously, your automatic sucks, but yes, the early WRXs don't do well. Don't clutch drop them because they'll get eaten. Yeah, and like Christian said, plan for like another $100 to $200 because there's always just random stuff that you have to pay for. And yeah, I mean oil, gear, transmission fluid, well, just gear oil, but random gaskets and if you're missing a bolt and crap like that. So, yeah, pull apart for the win. I love pull apart. It depends on Anthem 76. Depends on where you can source your automatic. If you can get your automatic for a new automatic for a good price, it'd probably be cheaper. It'd take less work, ish. You wouldn't have to swap your rear diff, but besides that, everything else has to get swapped. You also have to factor in a flywheel because obviously an automatic is a flex plate. So you need a flywheel bolts. If you're doing a hydro clutch, you need a hydro master cylinder, slave cylinder, hydro line, all that stuff. Manual swap is just to have a manual. Yeah, and what Mr. Subaru says, just go get another 4 EAT. Hop on, join a Facebook. I don't know if you're in the States, Anthem, but find a, if you're curious, find a Facebook page, like a classifieds in your area of Subaru parts. Cause I'm on like 4 just in the state and the surrounding states. So if I find anything good, or I could just post something looking for this part, and if it's within a close distance, I mean, just another source. Dude, Duluth. Dude, is it cold up there? Because it's freaking not down here. Yeah, and 4 EATs are way stronger than a 5-speed. Yeah, and the starter. And depending on what year 4 EAT you have, you can just pull off the filters. They don't even stick the filters on the inside anymore. Anyway, yeah. So I'm gonna call it good for the night. It's for me, it's about 10:10 here in. Yeah, there's a bunch of lag on my end. Dang, dude, 26 degrees. I'm at today during the day at least it was 60. Windy is junk, but 60 degrees, and right now it's there hasn't been ice on the cars or even frost on the ground. Yeah, well, filter. Anyway, Ryan, what kind? Oh, you're talking to him about the tune. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna call this a night. I might leave this streaming so you guys can finish up your conversations between you guys for a little bit, but I'm gonna call it a night. Tomorrow during the day, I probably won't live stream it, but I'm just gonna drop the exhaust manifold and that hanger. So that tomorrow evening I'll do another live stream starting at about 8:30 or 9 o'clock Central Time. And I will be pulling off the head. So if anybody's interested in watching that or just hopping on and chatting, I'll have the chat window up, and we can keep talking. Makes for a lot slower progress. I was planning on having the head off by like 9:30, but but I mean it's fun, and I'm happy to answer questions. I did want to, since you guys are watching a live stream, I'm gonna go ahead and plan a legitimate live stream that's a Q&A live stream on anything Dirt Cheap Daily related. I'll do a project car one, like if you had questions about any of my builds or projects or whatever. For, I don't know, maybe I'll just hit it as whatever questions come up. But also I'll take your questions on like some of the stuff, Ryan, you were asking about. Like what's your thoughts on eBay exhaust and stuff like that. So I'm open to doing all of that stuff. And I'm gonna say, so today is March 7th. In order to get good publication on this or good coverage so that more people know about it, I'm gonna go ahead and say that this is gonna be, what's on my 17th? I have something on my St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, let's do St. Patrick's Day live stream. So March 17th, that's my grandpa's birthday. So not this Friday, but next Friday, I'm gonna be doing, maybe I'll do it that Saturday. What do you guys think? Should I do a live stream in the evening like this, or should I do a live stream at like noon on a Saturday? Or is everybody doing stuff at noon on Saturday? Dude, WRX Fleet, are you on Instagram? I want to check out your build. That sounds pretty sweet. I'm waiting for the delay. Anyway, so that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. So I'll figure that out, I guess. I might do 2 live streams because I'm fine with doing that. Yeah, I thought I recognized your profile picture or something. Anyway. Anyone answer me this question? When Subaru measures the horsepower on the WRX, is that 227 horse at the wheels or crank? I'm actually not sure on that. I'll go ahead and, for now, I'm going to say it's either going to be Friday night, March 17th, or sometime in the noonish to early afternoon of Saturday, the 18th. I'll post about it on my Instagram, on my Facebook and Twitter, and I will make sure I include that in my upcoming episodes so that everybody gets a chance to hear about it. So again, there we go. The 17th and 18th/18th. Yes, I'm still taking the heads off tomorrow on stream, just the one head. So that'll start at about 9. I'm not going to say 9 o'clock exactly or anything because it's a live stream, and I got voice out stuff I have to do tomorrow night. But around 9 o'clock, I'll be back out here, 8:45, 9, 9:15 or so, probably about 9. I'll be out here and I'll take the head off. Today's Tuesday, so there's no episode tomorrow. There's a live stream tomorrow. And then Thursday, I have how to install an auxiliary port in any car. I'm installing it on the 05 Outback, but it'll work on any car. Auxiliary headphone jack in your car. So that's Thursday's episode. Next Tuesday, I have the next episode of the Legacy GT Turbo build. And it actually, not the finale episode, but the final episode of the Legacy GT Turbo. And then that next week, that Friday, will be my Q&A. And then the next week after that is going to be my finale of the first year of Dirt Cheap Daily. A finale on the turbo build and kind of the Legacy GT wrap up for the year. And I might have a couple other videos here and there. I'm gonna do a video on the best way to take RTV off. I have a couple of ways to do it, and I'm gonna practice them all on all of these timing cover plates that have massive loads of RTV around them. So that's another episode that'll be up probably next week. Yeah, Mr. Subaru. Glad to have you on. I'm stoked to have. I mean, like you said, you've been on since like '09. I've watched a lot of your stuff, so cool to see a fellow creator, I guess, that's been doing Subarus for so long on here and giving your tips. But I don't agree with your OEM only head gasket. Anyway, yeah, we'll talk to you later, Mr. Subaru. Thanks everybody for participating. Senseless Tuning, you're rad. Anthem sounds cool. WRX Fleet, I'm gonna go check out your Instagram again. Ryan, it was good chatting, and everybody else. Serial, go get your transmission checked. Yeah, WRX Fleet. What's your is your Instagram just WRX Fleet? I think it might be. Some of the things that we talked about for anybody else that's watching and didn't see the live feed chat. I was talking about C Hillberry GC8. I don't remember his handle. Anyway, look up. You can find me on Instagram at Dirt Cheap Daily, and then the people that I follow, you can look up C Hillberry or Chillberry. He has a really sweet like 99 25 RS sedan that he's doing a 22 EJ22 DT build, so a 22 hybrid with 2.5 heads and a turbo. Super clean, cool to look at. I also talked about BN Lento, which he has like a 93 Brighton Impreza Coupe with the EJ18, but it's cammed out. It's like a battle stance. It's a pretty sweet ride, so check that one out too. We might have talked about Ben, how my car got like this. That's my brother. He has a wide body 98 Impreza wagon running 10-inch wide steel rims with massive offset. And yeah. So that's today. All I did was get the cam caps off, get an oil line off, and take the cams out. Holy crap, dude. Sounds good, Scrub Turkey. Anyway, so not too much done. There was a lot of good comments and questions, and this was a great informal question and answer session. So this is mostly just kind of a wrap up for anybody who wasn't participating. You can go through and look at stuff and kind of see what we talked about. But yeah, again, tomorrow, everybody who's still on, you can get off now. Looks like your conversations have kind of finished up. If you fall back, I'll follow. Ryan, are you following me? I'll follow you. Maybe if you follow back. Anyway, yeah, check me out on Instagram at Dirt Cheap Daily. If you don't have Instagram, I do have Facebook at Dirt Cheap Daily, and I have Twitter at Dirt Cheap Daily. I post the exact same thing on all three of those social media platforms because I just post from Instagram. And so, yeah, like I always say, that's the daily content, or at least live content. If I don't post daily, when I do post, it's because I was working on it that day. So if you want to have more up-to-date info on what's going on with my projects that I share on the channel, check out Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, because the episodes that I release on YouTube are generally 2 to 3 weeks behind the date that they're released. So just for everybody's knowledge. Anyway, I'm getting tired and I'm obviously rambling. So one last reminder, March 17th and 18th or 17th and 18th is going to be a question and answer live stream where you guys can throw your questions at me and I will talk about all my cars, why I did the things I did, why I painted the car, why I don't run an intercooler, how to do a manual swap, whatever questions you have about any content I have on my channel. And I will even go ahead and do a preview of what's to come this year, like this next future summer, if you guys have questions or are curious about my plans. So, oh, Ryan, were you talking to me? Let me check my my Instagram really quick because I got a ton of comments and stuff. So I got 3 new followers. Oh, there you guys are. I didn't realize you were talking about me. Okay, there's Senseless. Follow you back. Serial, thanks for requesting. And yeah, if you guys have friends that are into Subarus, let them know about the channel. Mostly just because I hope my goal for Dirt Cheap Daily, I'm not here to make money or anything. I'm here to share good Subaru content with the YouTube community. I got bored watching most of the channels on YouTube, and I feel like they weren't really producing that high quality content, which is what's enjoyable to watch for me. And so I started my own channel because that's the kind of stuff I do. So yeah, share this stuff with your friends. Let them know that I don't know, there is a basically dedicated Subaru channel that is all about DIY. Yeah, and the stream is really delayed, but there we go. Anybody who's watching this, do you guys have any tips on something to say at the end of my episodes besides see you next time, thanks for watching? Because I have no clue. Keep it dirt cheap. Sounds ridiculous. I know I'm not going to start saying that. So I'll wait because I know there's a big delay. I got the notification before you followed on stream. Oh, geez. Yeah. There's like a 5 to 10 second delay. So I will wait while you guys type out your suggestions for what I should say at the end of my episodes. Subies for life. Keep it dirt cheap. That sounds so ridiculous, though. Because I can't think of anything else. Peace, yo. Keep it flat. I don't know. The world is flat. That's pretty good. Maybe I will do that. I like that, Senseless. It's an inside joke. I might do that on my next couple episodes. I don't know how long, if that'll stick. But if I start doing it, it will stick, and I think it sounds stupid. Anyway, obviously, I'm getting too tired. This is fun doing it at night, because at night I get like sleep drunk, where I'm just sleep drunk. And anyway, maybe it's just because I didn't do any work today. I did like 10 minutes worth of work in an hour, 2 hours. Thanks, guys. No, I can't do that. Anyway. Thanks, Ryan. Anyway, I'm going to call it good. I've been drawing this out way too long. It is 10:24 right now. Maybe it's 10:25 by the time you hear it, but not super late, but it is when I get up at 5:30. So that's why by this time at night, I'm totally sleep drunk and acting like a goofball. So anyway, yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow night if you guys been on. Okay, I'm done. I don't even care. Rewind and watch my announcements. I don't have to say it again. This is a video on YouTube. You can just rewind. Keep it dirt cheap. DCD.